with Kendall Alley, Pete Ganady back at Death Valley. Second half kickoff, and we are underway in the third quarter, and the Tigers will more than likely take it out of the 35-yard line after it's kicked out of bounds. So Clemson, with a 31-10 edge on the Duke Blue Devils, get to go to work right out of the gates with the ball in their hands.
One thing Duke needs to have happen early in this second half is they've got to have some momentum. They got to make some plays and try to get back in the ball game before the Tigers are able to put this one out.
Clemson will indeed take the ball out of the 35. So good starting field position for Clemson and ready to go to work. Woodrow Dantzler, he enters the second half having attained 5 of those 6 milestones he was pursuing coming into the game, and he's within 50 yards of getting to 1,000 rushing for the season, which would make him very special in the NCAA record books. He's the first guy ever to get to 1,000 rushing and 2,000 passing in the same season. Roscoe Crosby that time helps Dantzler add to his passing yardage total. That goes for first down yardage.
Jumps out, throws it to Roscoe. Something I see I like in Roscoe. He catches the ball, runs out of options, puts his head down, tries to get the extra yard.
We've seen it today on that touchdown. Here's a guy who loves to catch the ball in traffic and run through traffic. As a high schooler, he made a living doing that, and as a freshman now, as his first year has gone on, he's really starting to show that talent. Here is Dantzler, and Woody Dantzler busted for about 5 yards. Puts him at 44 shy of getting 1,000, and Woody Dantzler with a nice carry on first down out of that backfield.
Nice place, rolling to the right, following his tackle in.
10 of 16 so far for Dantzler, 183 yards, so he's on his way to another 200-yard passing day. 3 touchdowns to go with that, 1 interception on a ball that he threw in traffic, and it appeared Derek Hamilton in the second quarter had caught, but instead the Devils able to come up with the pick. Little misdirection action. There's Crosby. Reeled in by Ronnie Hamilton, also Josh Kreider on the play for the Devils.
Once again, you see Crosby showing his strength. They were unable to take him down and only able to force him out of bounds.
So third down now for Clemson as they push their way into Blue Devil territory. Clock winds here in the third quarter. And again, Clemson with the win becomes bowl eligible, and a very good chance within 24 hours of the conclusion of this game, they will learn their destination, and many think it will be Orlando in the Tangerine Bowl on December 20th. Travis Zachary with an opening. Look at Travis Zachary get inside the 30, the 20, the 10, and his third touchdown of the day.
Another long run for Zachary.
How do you like that? They were thinking about a short yardage play, or so it appeared, the Blue Devil defense, and instead Zachary cuts outside, gets the first down, and plenty to go for 6.
Simple toss sweep to the right, some great blocking on the outside. You see him filling in the corner, and Zachary just uses his speed to close the play out for another touchdown and a great career.
A 42-yard carry for Travis Zachary. Number 1 and number 8 in that Clemson lineup really sparkling here. Their final game in Death Valley, and some fitting work done by each, Dantzler and Zachary. Aaron Hunt again is down the middle, and the Tigers have opened up the lead to 38-10. We will take a break. Return after this. Clemson scores right out of the box here in the second half, leading Duke big on CSS. Back at Death Valley, and you see the work that gets the Tigers number. And all 5 Clemson touchdown drives, Kendall, happening in less than 2 minutes today.
Very quick hitting offense and a good game plan today. Again, that particular situation, excellent execution, because the play, there wasn't anything fancy. Pitch sweep to the right, and he takes it all the way in for the score.
Travis Zachary just 4 carries today for 98 yards. Impressive work by Travis Zachary, the senior, now at 49 touchdowns. And again, he had moved in with his second touchdown of the 3 he's had today to 4th place all-time in the ACC in that category. And with that, he was on the verge of moving into the career scoring lead. Entering today, he is now just 1 point behind Nelson Welch for the all-time lead. Actually, a little bit less, about 7 away from Nelson Welch's record Clemson points. So 2 more touchdowns would certainly put him over the hump for a TD and a 2-point conversion. Back to the matters at hand. There is Douglas on the kickoff return. And Chris Douglas gets it out across the 30, up close to the 35. That's where Duke will start out in the second half. Well, the Devils started the game on their opening drive with a scoring move march down the field, and Clemson responding in kind to start things out here in the third quarter.
We've definitely seen a lot of offense today on both sides of the ball. quick action offenses.
So it'll be 1st and 10, Duke working from their own 31. And Love that time goes downstairs and reels it in. A little quick hitter out there to the big guy Reggie Love, and Duke gets some yards, making it 2nd and 5 or so it appears. And again, Travis Zachary with his 3 scores today, that is 18 points accumulated. He ended the day actually a couple of notches out of that first place slot, but now has moved into 2nd all by himself in points scored in his Clemson career, and 7 shy of Nelson Welch, the kicker from the early 90s from Clemson, who is the all-time leader entering today. Now Douglas has some room on 2nd down, and that'll go for a 1st down. Chad Carson with the stop for the Tigers.
As we talked about earlier, coming back in the 2nd half, Duke using the huddle, taking their time, trying to make things happen on the line of scrimmage. Clemson quick strikes, keeping they're at Clemson's defense on the field, where those guys are getting some momentum and having some fun.
So a 1st down play after the 7-yard carry for Douglas. 1st and 10 for the Devils. Tiger defense coming up with some stops either in or near the red zone in that opening half, or else this game would be significantly closer. Here is Bryant looking to throw, batted in the air. Oh! Almost a defensive lineman's dream. Bryant McNeil, the closest defender, as that ball was wobbling above his head, but he didn't see it. Rodney Thomas, and it looked like Chad Carson was nearby on the deflection. Let's take a look and see who actually got a hand on it.
Looked like Chad got it again, coming in from the right-hand side. Same stunt they ran in the first half on the other side. Chad again getting the tip pass at that point in time. Ball was up in the air, and as you said, a lineman's dream, because I believe they would have scored.
A lineman's dream is to catch the ball. A lineman's nightmare is to pull a Jim Marshall of the Minnesota Vikings and run the wrong way with it. Neither the case that time, though, and it just goes as an incomplete pass. 2nd down and 10 now for the Devils. And once again, Bryant overthrowing the intended receiver. Eric Meekins right there with Kyle Moore.
Bryant's never looked comfortable back there all day. The Tigers bringing so many different schemes from a blitz standpoint, keeping him off balance.
Carl Frank's trying to find the answer. He is in jeopardy of posting his 30th loss in 3 seasons with the Blue Devils. You see the numbers for D. Bryant so far. That almost seems inconceivable.
44 attempts.
And throwing after it was nearly taken down for the sack is Bryant, but it goes incomplete, and it brings up 4th down. Donnell Washington doing some good work for Clemson defensively that time. Watch Bryant trying to step up in the pocket.
You see pressure from the outside, and pressure on him, gets him to him, but pass a little bit behind Douglas and wasn't able to make the play. Again, you see Bush in the center, making great pressure.
And Javon Bush also involved in the action. And so once again, Trey McDonald, Tigers get a hand on it, nearly blocked, and in a lot of pain right now is DeLuzma. He appears to be holding or favoring his, I'm not sure exactly, it appears he hurt a wrist or a hand on that play, but boy, Ronnie DeLuzma in a lot of pain as he got in there and got a hand on the football, and it looks like he is favoring one of his hands. Taking a break. Tigers looking to build as they get back on the field on offense on their 38-10 lead here in the 3rd quarter. Clemson leads Duke on CSX. Along with Kendall Alley, Pete Ganady back at Death Valley. Tigers on offense for the 2nd time in this 2nd half. Looking to make it 2 for 2 here in the 3rd quarter. Woody Dantzler tries reversing course, but the defensive pressure. B.J. Hill leads the way, and Duke grabs him. Good game so far for Clemson's offense. 2 weeks of preparation for the Tigers coaching staff on both sides of the football, but those 2 weeks have proved to be beneficial earlier this season for the NC State game. Some really good offensive performances after a lot of time to work over the X's and the O's, and there have been some good efforts too, even with the 1 week. Georgia Tech comes to mind as one of those games. That time on the 2nd down toss, the ball is deflected, and 3rd down upcoming. Tending to Ronnie DeLuzma. It looks as if his left hand, maybe his left pinky, is what they're working on. Really can't see in there. First block punt of the year, by the way, for Clemson. So on a game where the Tigers suffered their first block punt, they deliver on the punt coverage end by getting a hand on that Trey McDonald attempt. Setting up fine, but they did lose yards in the first down play, so 3rd and long over the middle and just behind Jackie Robinson. Looked like he might have had the opening for the first down, but Woody Dancer throws it a little bit behind his fellow Orangeburg native, and as a result, Tigers are forced to go 3 and out and will be punting it away.
That would have been a big opportunity for a play there, as Robinson was wide open across the center on the slant pattern.
Here's Win Kopp. Clemson among the best at punting in the ACC this season, but Kopp earlier watched the Blue Devils deflect an attempt off a bad snap, and that time he just gets it away. On the return and getting some positive yards moving upfield is Hamilton. Hamilton breaks into the clear. Finally taken down, but not before. And then the ball's knocked away but goes out of bounds. Not before the Tigers finally run down Ronnie Hamilton. And Duke will have the ball in fine shape. Derek Hamilton eventually gets his hands on Ronnie Hamilton. How about this work on the return, Kendall?
What a great return by Hamilton. Almost got the block, as you see there. Play comes up, and Hamilton takes the ball. You see him here just basically take one of the Tigers players completely off his hands, John Leake, and then he's out in the open. Good blocking. Team 25 downfield making a play. Force Hamilton 21 coming back and making the tackle at the end of the play.
Ronnie Hamilton has Duke set up at the Clemson 13-yard line. Ball was fumbled forward, but they spotted at the 13. So Duke, which had so many times finishing the deal when they drove down deep in Clemson territory in the opening half, with an opportunity here early in the third. Bryant. And he finally throws it away. And out of the pocket, they'll give you that kind of latitude. Bryant McNeil providing plenty of pressure. Didn't look like there was a receiver within about 5 or 8 yards of that, but incomplete brings up 2nd down.
And no question that Bryant had time there for the play to develop, but the Clemson defense had good coverage downfield, which forced him to have to make something happen.
So Nick Eason and crew will go back to work now on 2nd down and 10. There is a scout from the Tangerine Bowl today. In fact, one of the higher ups in the organization that oversees that December 20th game in Orlando. Clemson trying to look impressive, and Sunday the vote will be cast as to who will be slotted from the ACC in that game, the Tangerine. 2nd down now. Little pump fake, and now Bryant forced a scramble, fumbled away. Nick Eason with it, and the big guy returns it across the 40. The Tigers knock the ball out of the hands of D. Bryant, and big Nick Eason, a big defensive lineman, gets to take it and run.
Had an opportunity to go all the way, but in usual fashion, Douglas was able to run him down from behind. Great pressure on the front to knock the ball open, and good feet by Eason to pick it up. You see Bryant dropping back, good outside pressure forcing it. Eason gets his hands on the football, and it's picked it up by Eason and taken forward. The ball was knocked loose by Brian McNeil. Douglas making the tackle downfield as the big lineman couldn't quite outrun the running back.
So Bryant McNeil knocks it out of the hands of D. Bryant. And Nick, in a month where the name Nick will be real popular later on this 1st of December, it's Nick Eason who makes the big play for Clemson. Here's Roscoe Crosby, and there goes Roscoe Crosby. The freshman for the score, 2nd time today for him.
Tigers come back with the exact same play that finished the last drive where they missed Robinson. Come back with Crosby in the crossing pattern, and it's wide open for the touchdown.
A 58-yard scoring play. Woody Dantzler to the freshman out of Union, Roscoe Crosby.
Watching Crosby coming out of the left receiver position, Woody hits him dead on the streak. Again, the exact same play. It was unsuccessful on the previous drive. Crosby turning on the speed and going for the points.
He and Derek Hamilton actually about as fast as one another. It's just that Crosby has the more physical build than Hamilton, so that speed maybe is a little bit deceptive when keeping an eye on number 25. Roscoe Crosby now 3 career touchdowns. 2 of those have come today. Aaron Hunt makes it a 45-10 Clemson lead. Tigers impressing the fans on hand, the Bowl Scouts, and I'm sure our friends watching on CSS as Woody Dantzler again laces one in there, and his receiver takes it the rest of the way.
Obviously, the Clemson coaches saw the previous series that it was a play that Duke had not been able to successfully cover. Giving Roscoe the chance, as Pete, as you said, he's demonstrated the speed that
depth and wide skill there and a good solid starting five and a pitching staff. Well, on the receiving end, Clemson is certainly set for the future. Ball two. Wow. A couple of scores here. On here as the Tigers in the third quarter have opened up that lead. A 35-point margin on the Duke Blue Devils. That guy could find himself in Orlando or elsewhere. As the Tigers now, pretty safe to say, on the verge of getting that sixth win and locking up a bowl bid.
As we talked about, Duke coming back needed to have something happen early, and because of the turnover situation that they've had, Clemson has capitalized very quickly. The average drive today has been very short, big yards, very short period, and just Clemson taking control of the ball game at this time.
And as Centerio Landrum and Kyle Moore await the kick, we note Roscoe Crosby, 4 receptions, 120 yards today. That is a new freshman record for receiving yards in a single game for the Tigers. And, of course, a couple of touchdowns among those 4 catches. Boy, Moore greeted by the Clemson kick coverage.
It's easy to see that on the Clemson sideline, the energy and excitement, having the big lead here. You see on the return as he's coming up the field, you'll just watch the enthusiasm of the Clemson defenders once the hit's made. People flying to the ball, trying to make things happen. Troy White just had nowhere to go, and you can just see people continuing to come to the play. So the enthusiasm is contagious, and I would look for Clemson to pin the ears back and come hard the rest of the ball game.
White got the main course. Feaster was there for the leftovers. 1st and 10 for Duke at their own 20. And here's Douglas finding little room. That's one of the really good things about a game like today. It has been a lot of fun to watch. And you certainly want to impress the folks. You want to have a great day to go out for the seniors in the final home game. You really couldn't ask for anything more.
And for these Clemson seniors, they haven't had a lot of big opportunities this year to just pin the ears back and have fun. Been in a lot of close games, been in games that they lost, and so it's an opportunity to relax and just play football.
Third time today that a Clemson scoring drive exists for just one play on that connection to Roscoe Crosby. Third down now upcoming as the Devils are unable to get a whole lot going, and again back to that point of them working some clock and at least trying to keep that defense off the field for the time being.
You know, we talked in the first half with Duke only having, or Clemson only having 12 or so minutes of possession, but it seemed like the defense for Duke was out there forever because it was constantly moving the football and making them run up and down the field.
Third down, call it for Bryant to throw. Would have gone for a first down, but Alex Wade unable to hang on. And Duke is faced with 4th down. We don't automatically say a punting situation, but indeed now their punting team does come out to the field.
Once again, Duke not executing on the play. They've had positions all day long to make things happen and just have not been able to finalize and execute.
It looks like they're coached to be in a position to make a play or two, but wow, guys not hanging on to what looked like some pretty easy balls. This time it is kicked away by Matt Brooks instead of Trey McDonald. Derek Hamilton on the receiving end. A few yards after making the grab, the Tigers again just about looking downhill. They will take over near the 50 at about their own 47.
Duke in a position now where they've got to make a stop. Tigers come out and score again. The race could be on for the rest of the day.
36-yard punt, 9-yard return. Woody Dantzler, if this series extends itself, could easily find himself carrying the football a bit to get to that mark of 1,000, which looks inevitable at this stage of the game. And at some point, Tommy Bowden's going to call the dogs off. Clemson certainly has proved any point it wanted to coming into today in terms of looking impressive against the Devils. There is the handoff to Travis Zachary. And he pulls the way forward. That probably puts Travis Zachary up over 100 yards for the day.
Just a straight dive up the field. You know, as you said, Tommy trying to figure out right now probably what he wants to try to do from the Clemson offensive sideline.
Keeping score on the rushing yards for Dantzler, 85 so far. Needs 131 to get to 1,000. He is 46 shy. Total yards in the game now. Tigers really starting to gain some separation there. Here is Woody. And there's an opening on the outside. And Woody Dantzler down inside the 25.
Once again, predetermined call, sweep to the left, give Woody an opportunity to do what he does best.
Eventually reeled in by Anthony Roberts, but Dantzler working behind some nice block. Looks like T.J. Watkins, a fellow senior, among those out there leading the way, as was Zachary.
Zachary, who's had a great career as a blocking back, just once again opens an opportunity for Woody to turn it up the field, uses his power and speed to go forward.
And a nice late block by Jackie Robinson, too. Now 111 yards rushing on the day for Woody Dantzler. He's 20 shy. Tigers have it 1st and 10 at the Duke 22. Dantzler thinking run. And Woody Dantzler making something out of nothing there.
Incredible move on the outside when he was faced by the potential tackle, and just continues to turn it upfield and make great plays as a runner.
It is a pretty safe bet that Dantzler now, with a second and relatively short coming up, is going to be given his cuts on the ground. And what a way to get to 1,000 yards by getting into the end zone. He can actually get to the 1,000-yard mark by getting to the 2-yard line if he is the one who carries it on these next few plays, but certainly it would really happen with a bang. Gain of 6 that time. And this time he will hand off, and it's Zachary. And he's to the 15. Shar on the stop. So 14 yards to go for Woodrow Dantzler. It'll be a 3rd down play upcoming.
Be a great opportunity for Woody. You can hear the crowd hollering for Woody. Everybody in the stadium knows that he has an opportunity to make history today, and everybody would like to see it. He's had such a good career and been a good representative for Clemson University.
Tigers likely thinking 1st down, but then again, with the way things have clicked today, who knows? It is Zachary, and he is stopped for a loss. Well, nice surge by Orrin Thompson, who was out of Charlotte. And then Shar there to help clean up. So 4th down in the red zone, and Clemson will go for it. No reason for anything else.
Bringing in your big play receivers, Hamilton and McKelvey on the outside, try to get the matchups in a position to potentially throw it downfield.
Clemson will go with 3 wides this time. That's Zachary with Dantzler in the backfield. Woody rolls, looks like a design running play. There he is, inside the 20, inside the 10. He's got the record. He's got the touchdown. Woody Dantzler hits the 1,000-yard rushing mark. The Tigers get 6. And how do you like that? Talk about adding a little bit of spice to a special moment.
You have to at some point in time, Woody was going to get that call. Perfect scenario, spread the defense out with 3 receivers. And now Woody becomes the first player in NCAA history to go to 2,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. What a great cap to a great.
Enjoy the moment. You just saw big Will Merritt. There's another senior lineman, T.J. Watkins. Those guys have had such a big hand in what Woody Dantzler has just accomplished. A 1,000-yard rushing season to go with the 2,000-plus passing. Woody Dantzler, the first guy in NCAA to put that combination together in a single year. Wow, look at this. Kennerly just gets outside, and he was gone.
Again, just a power run, predetermined from the get-go, and why not give it to a guy who's going to break history and make things happen, and has done so for a long time. See him again coming at us right here at ground level, swinging left. Zachary's going to take the lead, take out the linebacker right there, and Woody just does what he does, turn it up and go.
How do you like that? Woodrow Dantzler. What an effort. What a career. Tigers, what a game, 52-10. Here is Douglas. Popped once and then taken down. Eventually reeled in by Tony Elliott. Woodrow Dantzler. All 6 milestones that he was in line to get today have been achieved. Congratulations will now continue. Again, 19 carries, 135. He needed 131 coming in, and that was actually his first touchdown on the ground today. He's had a hand, of course, and several scoring tosses. Tigers up over 50 in Death Valley once again against the Blue Devils. And tossing it outside Bryant that time. Landrum on the receiving end. And Duke at this point has to be thinking about trying to hang on to the football for as long as they can for the rest of this 3rd quarter. Chad Carson over there among those in on the stop.
Duke's allowed this thing to get away from them pretty quickly in this 3rd quarter, and Now it's just kind of time to figure out exactly what you want to do and what you want to work on to try to finish your season out.
Third time this year the Tigers have gone over 45 points in a game. First time over 50 in the contest. And at this point, Alex Wade for a first down. And again, after that moment just a few minutes ago, really the focus on Clemson's bench is going over high-fiving Woody Dantzler, and understandably that a lot of folks may not really be totally in this game at the very moment. That guy has had a lot of work today. There will be some major aches in those arms by tomorrow morning. The Tigers have been hard at work with that ball. First and 10 now, D. Bryant. Duke on the verge of a 23rd consecutive loss to Division 1A record, 34 by Northwestern, which came to a merciless end back in 1982. And of course, you don't have to be a pessimist if you're a Duke fan to realize that next season, in a 12-game year especially, that very dubious goal could be attained, or dubious milestone, if you will. There's the offensive line that has cleared the way. So many of those guys, veterans, have been here 4 or 5 years during the tenure of Woodrow Dantzler. Throwing on the receiving end and pulling it in. Looked like Powell, and it was. And finally knocked out of bounds. Travis Pugh getting some looks today. He's worked behind Charles Hafley past few weeks on the depth chart.
You know, Pete, a lot of time offensive linemen don't get a lot of credit for a lot of things that go on. And those guys, as you said, who have been there for all those years with Woody, have to feel like that's one of the crowning accomplishments of their career.
So now 3rd down and 4. Clemson's defense, of course, still playing with a lot of pride, as the offense will when they return. Plays like that by Chad Carson, a clear sign. The Tigers don't want Duke knocking on the door anymore today.
Tiger defense, particularly with their blitz package today, has pretty much had their way with the offensive line at Duke. Once again, Carson making a big play. You've seen him knock down a couple passes. Comes on a straight stunt up the middle. They got him outnumbered in the inside, and there's no way for the Blue Devils to be able to contain it. As you see the center and the guard go left, and it's just no opportunity for Duke to defend it.
Just like a running back seeing daylight, has to be a great feeling for a linebacker when you go untouched on the blitz. Once again, Brooks to kick it away, so McDonald may have been shaken up on that ball that was partially blocked. And look at that. Inside of the halo, indeed. 121, pops another 21. Hamilton was hit as the ball got into his hands by Centerio Landrum, and the flags flying out immediately.
Good concentration by Hamilton on the catch, because he definitely was inside the halo, and was already talking to him by the time the ball got there.
Interference with the opportunity to make a catch on the defense. 5 yards, first down.
The call by our referee, Joe Ryder. Take a look again.
You see Hamilton making the catch right there in his face. A great concentration. It was an excellent kick by the Duke punter, and so just making a great concentration and pick up 5 on the penalty and move on.
So 1st and 10 now for Clemson. And Woody Dantzler back out under center. Travis Zachary alongside. Here's Zachary.
Clemson electing to stay with his first team group out there. You see him starting to come off now. Zachary coming off. You feel like Coach Bowden's going to start putting players in the game to give them opportunity to have some experiences here at the end of the season.
And certainly just a classy thing right here. Here comes Woody Dantzler. The QB of today gives way to the QB of tomorrow. Woody Dantzler and the Tigers will have one more chance here in the 2001 campaign. A bowl bid certainly seems a lock. Here's Roscoe Crosby, speaking of the future, as he gets first down yardage on Willie Simmons' first attempt of the afternoon.
Well, obviously Coach Bowden had a lot of confidence in Willie bringing him into the game. Definitely in honor of Woody Dantzler. Opens right up with a little quick slant pass to the left to Roscoe Crosby. You see the block by Rimmer coming out. Alex Green coming up to make the tackle from the weak side safety position, but Roscoe doing his thing in traffic again.
And Clemson fans now about 17 minutes worth of game time left to get a preview of what the passing game will look like next year, and for that matter, the running game. Bernard Rambert, another guy who returned in 2002, and the junior that time carries for a couple of yards on first down. So far this season, the Simmons line, he's thrown it 43 times, 16 tosses. And again, he's been used a little bit differently compared to last year for the obvious reason that Woodrow Dantzler's remained relatively healthy this year, and a lot of the work by Willie Simmons was done in an injury relief role last year, so he hasn't gotten maybe a lot of the same kind of game minutes, and a lot of times he's come in and been forced to throw the football while he's come off the bench cold, but he is a guy who packs plenty of talent and has a couple of years to go of eligibility in the program, and he is a guy that is going to be counted on and expected to deliver some major numbers, just like that guy Woodrow Dantzler has, and today has been the crowning moment, very appropriately happening here in the Valley.
Very much so. Coach Bowden trying to get a lot of players in, get some time. You know, this season has not been an opportunity to do this a lot for them, going 5-5 up to this point. So get some guys some playing time, make them feel good about being all the work they've done.
Throwing underneath for Matt Bailey. Slant play looked like it would work, but not that time, so fourth down upcoming. And the Tigers will kick it away.
Yeah, you go back to your comments, Pete, about the way that Simmons has been used this year. It's a whole lot different when you're 8-0 and getting chances to put people in ball games with injuries, and as opposed to 5-5 and in the scrape every time trying to win.
And the first career punt attempt is upcoming, as Wincop has been given the rest of the day off. And a pretty nice boot away for the Tigers that time. Well, next Friday night, tune into CSS for SEC basketball, featuring 22nd ranked Alabama and those Gamecocks of Jacksonville State. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. So Duke back on offense. And the Tigers will mix in quite a few new faces. By the way, Tiff Miller on that punt for Clemson moments ago, and a nice effort. First career punt for Miller, traveling 40 yards. Here's D. Bryant handing off. And it looks like Douglas. Devils starting from deep in their own territory. Tommy Bowden, everything he could have wanted out of today has certainly come through. Tigers will end up the regular campaign in a winning note. They will seal that postseason bid. You just have a lot of happy guys, too, coming out of this. You know, and again, now you get to go back to the practice field, get ready for a postseason game. The seniors get that last time around the team, getting ready for that final game, while the younger guys get all kinds of extra valuable practice time in. And one more timeout upcoming for Clemson. Swing pass, nothing doing that time. Nice defensive work. Looked like Leroy Hill getting out there, and he does. And pulls down Wade, so third down upcoming for the Blue Devils.
Pete, as a player, on a day like today, you enjoy watching your teammates play, enjoy guys getting a chance to do things that they've worked all season for. And it's a lot of fun to play in a game like this because, you know, you get a chance to just laugh and relax. And like you say, it's been a tough season this year, a lot of questions going on.
And again, nothing official as far as a bowl game yet, but Clemson will find out within a day of the conclusion of this game. Taking a break as the third quarter comes to a close. Tigers head into the fourth, 52-10 on Duke. With Kendall Alley, Pete Hannity back at Death Valley, start of the fourth quarter. Kendall, safe to say, unless you are a true freshman on the Clemson team being held out this season for redshirt purposes, you're probably going to get in and see some action here over the final 15 minutes.
A lot of guys that will not have seen the field all season long will get a chance to play, and it's exciting for them, and hopefully their parents and all are here, and it'll be an opportunity to feel like you're part of the program.
And the Devils now working on third down. D. Bryant remains the quarterback. That time Wade, and that'll go for a first down. And Leroy Hill, who's seen a lot of minutes today, but you're going to see plenty of him now down the stretch in that middle linebacker slot. And Hill on the tackle. And it looks like several of the first teamers worked their way back onto the field. There might have been a certain agreement between Reggie Herring, the defensive coordinator, and that second team, but the 14-yard gain brings a lot of the first team guys back out there. As the first down's allowed, although you see a lot of folks who played in the backup role this year still, too, on the field. for the Clemson defense. 1st and 10 now for the Devils at the 28. Nothing doing that time. And once again, Leroy Hill leads the surge.
Be like say, seeing a lot of names and people that hadn't got time, but you can see the enthusiasm as they're breaking on the ball as though they've kicked it off at the beginning of the game and playing very hard.
Tommy Bowden on the verge of his 21st victory as Clemson's head coach. And when you add that to the 18 he had at Tulane, it puts him right there on the edge of 40 for his career as a head coach in the Division 1A ranks and in his entire head coaching career. Here is a 2nd down and 9 play, looking long over the middle, but the wobbler and nothing doing. Landrum, the intended receiver. Check out the pressure, Kendall.
Bryant takes a snap here. Nick Easton coming through. Big man. As we talked all day, Bryant has really not been able to get his feet settled. Just kind of tries to get rid of the football. Takes a big hit on the outside by Khalil Vaughn. And it's been a tough day for Bryant back there.
As time winds on here, a lot of guys on the sideline get a chance to sit back and reminisce. 23 seniors in their final home game. Guys get to add to their numbers too for this 2001 campaign, and as you see, that time, I believe for the first time today, Devils unable to get a playoff. Now what exactly is happening? I believe the play is whistled dead. Indeed it was. You saw the play clock run out, so the bad snap goes for naught. And although they haven't executed today, and Duke's had its share of drop balls and overthrows, you really haven't seen them look all that sloppy. I mean, they've simply been outmanned or simply have not finished a play, but that's really the first time we've seen the Devils look confused and without everything in order. And you'd expect that if there was their second team in there, but again, most of these guys still the frontline starters for Duke out there on the field.
Got to be a lot of discouragement in that offense. They did come in with a good game plan and have been effective. We're in a lot of positions to make things happen. As you said, just it's been more execution. Game plan was good, and just we're not in sync today to make it happen.
3rd down and long. Bryant pressured. Eludes a would-be sack. Now it's up for grabs. Nearly reeled in by Love. Good position, though. Kevin Johnson on the defense of the Tigers. He was looking for his 2nd pick of the day. Once again, nice pressure by Clemson.
Bryant very fortunate that Reggie Love was the intended receiver at 6'4", was able to go up and bat the ball down because it was not thrown very well. Replay, Bryant taking it back, thinking downfield all the time to Love, looking left. Good pressure again by Easton inside, and then the ball's up, and it's basically floating, and fortunately, again, the big receiver.
Duke punting away once again. And the Tigers get away from it. So Brooks' punt puts Clemson back on the other side of the 50. Tigers will have it when we return here in the 4th quarter. Plenty of time to go. Clemson's having fun, 52-10 on CSN. Back at Death Valley, Willie Simmons now out for the 2nd time. Woodrow Dantzler starting that last series simply for the purposes of getting him a chance to come off the field a final time to a great round of applause. A standing ovation, of course, by the Tiger faithful. A record-setting day for Dantzler, an impressive day all around for the Tigers. A great way for guys like Kyle Young, who's been so much a part of this program. 3rd-team All-America, excellent in the classroom, was named the recipient of the Tatum Award, which goes to the outstanding student athlete in the ACC annually. And here's a guy who, of course, grew up just a few miles from Death Valley, so he has Clemson football in his blood. A legacy in the program. His older brother Will played for the Tigers back in the 90s, now a football coach in the upstate of South Carolina on the high school level. And Kyle Young has rounded out a fine Clemson career with his work this season and today. And again, hopefully one more game to go for the Tigers. Haven't seen a lot of Aries Curry today. That time, though, he'd hoped to be on the receiving end of the long spiral thrown by Willie Simmons. Pretty looking ball, just a little bit high for Curry.
Willie coming back in the game out of the shotgun formation. Curry probably the fastest of this freshman core that's in here. Willie, a little bit of adrenaline going on into the ball game. Hadn't played a lot this year. Excited about being here and just lets it fly a little too far.
Well, the possibilities are just endless as this group of receivers gets another year, another spring practice. Really, for many of them, their first spring practice altogether, since so many of them are true freshmen under their belts. And that time, the screenplay doesn't work out as to we could see even more bigger and better things than what we've seen this season, and particularly here today. The Duke coaching staff still trying to keep the ball club in this game. One of the assistants, the defensive coordinator, Bob Trott, he had a stint at Clemson. You might remember back in 1990, the first year that Ken Hatfield was here, Bob Trott was his defensive coordinator, and the Tigers that year had the #1 defense in the land. And if you remember some of the names from that Clemson D of 1990, well, a lot of those guys were. One is blocked away, so the second punt attempt by Tiff Miller is rejected by the Duke coverage team. Nice work to get in there. Kenneth Stanford and company. Eventually Smith recovering it, but Duke is set up in some nice territory.
Duke uses a real close formation to pursue, trying to get to the punter, and this time again, second time today, and we've seen a few that were close to being blocked, came around the right side and was able to get their hands on the ball and knock it down.
One of the good things about this too, and getting so many guys involved, one of the really good things is that a long time ago they invented an umbrella you can actually wear in your head to shade not only the rain but the sun. But one of the really good things is you get a lot of guys who haven't seen game action on videotape. You know, the coaching staff, of course, they videotape a lot of the practice. That one is caught by Moore, and he gets in for the touchdown. So a den against the Tiger D. But nonetheless, you get these guys on videotape in a game situation for review purposes here in the coming days. But, well, not what Clemson's defense wanted to do. They were trying to hold Duke right where they were, but that time, pretty connection on the pass play, and Moore right there, able to simply take it, turn, and go for 6.
Yeah, Hemby trying to come up and make the play, left his receiver uncovered, just a simple out throw, and turned into a touchdown for the Blue Devils.
So Kyle Moore, senior out of Detroit, Michigan. Extra point is converted, and Duke cuts into the Clemson lead. Tigers still up by a bunch. It's 15-17 here in the 4th on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. Pete Hannity and Kendall Alley back at Death Valley. Plenty to smile about for all those here wearing orange today. Nice turnout on December 1st. Imagine that. Regular season football in December. You always want to tell your team, hey, let's still be playing in December, or preferably January 1st or whatever day they hold the championship game. That remains the mission of this Clemson program. Today the Tigers on this first day of December looking to lock up a postseason bid, extend their season further into the month. Here's Derek Hamilton. Cuts back and nearly finds an opening. So breakaway, Derek Hamilton. Lethal on kickoff returns, showing more of that today. Let's watch it again.
Again, deep kick to Hamilton, and he shows what Pete mentioned earlier in the game. You see him right here. He's going to turn on the jet, run past the defense, did a great move to go back against misdirection, try to come back. Anthony Roberts finally closes out, and the kicker gets in for a little bit of opportunity there as well.
33 yards in the return. So here's Willie Simmons again. Kendall, let's talk about the difference you see in Willie Simmons and Woodrow Dantzler in terms of their styles as quarterbacks.
Well, as we've seen with Woody, and obviously his stats show that he's the kind of quarterback that likes to throw, likes to run with the football, throws probably better on the move than he does still. Willie, the other side, is a drop back kind of guy, likes to make things happen, will stay in the pocket, be a different look for Clemson in the future.
Rambert, a nice gain close to first down yardage. Little counter action work. Delayed handoff, and then Randolph picks where he wants to go, and right up the middle is where it is.
You get the young guys out there, they're pretty excited. You know, guys get opportunities, a little bit of hold there by the offensive line bringing it back. We go back and talk about Willie. He will be a different look as he progresses in, and possibly will be more of what Coach Bowden's offense is really designed to do. When Woody would roll one way, he was so great that he could make plays himself. Now the offense will have to carry it because they won't have a player of Woody's talent to make things happen when the offense breaks down.
And Simmons is a guy who can get out there on the corner and scramble. You probably won't see so many plays out of the shotgun that are actually set running plays, but more of a pocket guy, but certainly a talented QB. Here's Crosby, and it's fumbled. And the Blue Devils come away with it. Play is still live. Looking for an opening and finding one. And getting close to the end zone is Alex Green before he's finally knocked out of bounds.
By Crosby again, comes back and makes the play after the mistake.
Roscoe Crosby, he was as good a defensive back as a high school player as he was a wide receiver. This time, forced to do both in the same play after he fumbles the football away.
And here you see Willie doing the little screen outside. You saw they pulled the offensive line. Roscoe trying to make something happen a little bit too much. Didn't take care of the football. It comes out, picked up, goes across the field, and then a lot of action. Everybody standing around in the stadium trying to figure out what's going on. Make a big play there. come back, and you'll see Roscoe comes back into the play to kind of make atonement for the mistake on the front end.
Alex Green, just a freshman. Chances are, not long ago, he was a high school football ball carrier. That time he reverts to a running back since. And on first down, nothing doing for Wade. Runs into a wall.
Again, you're still seeing the first team players. Chad Carson, a lot of pride in the Clemson defense for years has been the strength of the program, and they don't like to see people put points on the board.
It'll bring up a second down and goal at about the 3-yard line. In this game, Duke has given it up 3 times, Clemson twice. The Tigers still positive for the day in that turnover category, and that has not been the case on several occasions this year. Here is Wade, and he has the opening for the end zone.
Misdirection with the motion coming across, brought the opportunity, brought the linebackers to the strong side, handed it back, went weak side. Wade got in the end zone for the score.
So Alex Wade going in, just over 11 minutes here in the fourth quarter. Looked like one final shot by, I believe, Nick Eason at the end, but it would not happen. And the Blue Devils now with a chance to pull back within a 52-24 margin. Extra point is indeed good, and that is where our score now stands. So Clemson's lead is closed to 28 as the Devils fullback, Wade, just tried running south, and he was able to break out of that tackle attempt by Nick Eason and get in there for the score.
Motion took the linebackers away from the play. Thomas was coming on a stunt. Once again, a good call against the right situation. Probably one of the few prospects today of Coach Frank's situation. Tough day, tough year. He's probably trying to keep his program together as best he can and trying to get his players play as hard as they can.
Tell you an interesting story, though, away from the field about Carl Franks. Back on Friday, September 21st, it was the day before their game against Northwestern, and the Friday morning before a home game in the life of a college football coach, usually pretty quiet, and he'll often that day allow an assistant coach to go out and use his boat for a few hours before they come into work. Well, on that day, he went up to the lake where he keeps his boat with a friend, a fellow coach, and they were going to get it to take it somewhere. And while they were waiting for the area where the boat is kept to be unlocked, they suddenly heard this loud splash on the other end of the dock at the marina. They walked down there, and what do they see but the back end of a Jeep in the lake where they were at, sticking out of the lake. Carl Franks instinctively jumps in. What had happened was a gentleman who had had the Jeep in the parking lot had a seizure right after he started the car, lost control of it, plunged into the lake. Franks was able to rescue the man, a gentleman in his 40s, who turned out to be okay. And really a heroic effort by Carl Franks back in September, in a year where, of course, there have been some great efforts of heroism. That is one that has not gone unnoticed. It's been a tough year, to say the least, a very tough career so far as the head coach at Duke for him, but certainly a life-changing moment well away from the football field for Carl Franks, the Duke head coach. Out of bounds to go, 1st and 10, upcoming now for the Devils, or I should say for the Tigers, at the 35. They are announcing the crowd today at 72,000. Here at Death Valley, and another good season right near just over 80,000 average attendance this year, in a season in which the likes of North Carolina and Florida State have paid a visit. Again, announced attendance today at 72,000 in the Valley, and a great day to be outside and wonderful day to be taking in a game like this. Lots of fun to watch.
Simmons back in again, looking sideline there. Clemson uses the sideline in, relay information in, checking off. See what the play goes. The great thing about this offense is it allows you to do that with plenty of time still on the clock.
And on first down, right up the middle, Bernard Rambert. T.J. Watkins still out there. Big left tackle. Finishing out his long career as a Tiger. And a guy who really had been a quiet leader in this team, but asserted himself this season. After some tough times early after the Virginia game, he and Dancer were the two spokesmen in a players meeting they held. And a lot of folks credit him for the team getting things turned around for that upset at Georgia Tech. Look at Bernard Rambert with an opening. And deep into Duke territory, or at least some significant yards into Blue Devil territory, down close to the 35. Bernard Rambert, nice pickup. Watch it again, simply a straight handoff.
Straight handoff, basically a sweep to the right. Great blocking, lead blocking out front. See Hall downfield making it happen. Offensive lineman downfield right now. It's going pretty well. Rambert, excellent run.
23 yards on the carry for Rambert, who's done some nice work here in the second half as his numbers build. And here he is again. Looked like Aguano again getting in on the stop.
tried the same play the opposite direction, didn't have nearly the success that go-round.
We see plenty of Bernard Rambert today. Of course, Travis Zachary moves on as he completes his Clemson career. Rambert will be back, and let's not forget the name Keith Kelly. Saw lots of carries as a true freshman, had some off-season injury trouble, and they went ahead and decided to keep him out this year, use a red shirt. He is the guy who will be back in full force next year, and there will be others who will be counted on out of that Tiger backfield. Second down, Simmons to throw. And you see that power right there. And that Kendall, again, it'll come with experience and practice. Late flag, and it looks like the Tigers will benefit from it. Might have been a roughing the passer. But talk about the arm of Willie Simmons and how it needs to be refined, so to speak.
Willie throws a really hard football, and when you say that, I mean, all the quarterbacks have to have some velocity behind it. But Willie's ball comes out of there very hot. The tip of the ball is up, so it has a chance. It has a way that it kind of flies away and floats away from you in a very fast manner, and that's why you see him pound a lot of throws. Time will give him a chance with exposure to get some practice and get that down with the first-team receivers.
Speaking of team spokesman, there's Will Merritt. Boy, what a great career he's had. Another guy like Kyle Young, who grew up within a shadow of Clemson, went to Ren High, not far from here, and has gone on to some great things. And a guy who's grown up with Clemson in his blood, and it's been a thrill for him to compete for the Tigers over the years. He's been a big contributor on that offensive line, and really a great guy away from the field, too. Like this Tiger team, you will find throughout that roster. Here is Rambert on 1st and 10. Nothing happening right there. He is stopped up. A lot of those senior offensive linemen who won that one final game after this one. First things were first here today. They said it was going to be a playoff atmosphere, and they got to work early on Duke, built the big halftime lead, then added more points and added to the record book in the second half here in the Valley today. Plenty of time still to go, and Willie Simmons now on second down. We might see that arm once more. McKelvey breaks the tackle and he goes, but it won't happen. Ronnie Hamilton right there to reel him in.
We talked about his arm strength. You can see on that play, just one step, snap, throw, and it's very quick on how the ball was close the area. You see here, it's just Willie just takes a snap, step, sets, and it's a rocket going out there. McKelvey making the catch on just a basic stop route, and like we said, couldn't break away from the touch. But a good throw by Willie.
Another guy who's anxious to come back and contribute to this offense, Kevin Youngblood, who probably would have been the leading wide receiver had he not broken his leg in the preseason. But that pretty much shut him down for 2001, and he will be back and ready to go as he brings just another weapon to what should be a phenomenal group of guys catching the football next season. So Kelly and Youngblood among the names you'll also see in the mix next year on this offense.
Youngblood was somebody that we knew that Dantzler early in the year had a lot of confidence around. I would tell you, Pete, I've been beside the guy. He is probably one of the biggest receivers I've ever been around. Big hands out of Raines High School in Florida, and just an excellent football player.
And many say similarities to Rod Gardner, both in the high school they attended, plus in the fact that he has those kind of skills to go up and get it. Willie Simmons needed just a few for the first down on 4th, and he carries for it. Simmons gets the first down.
You see Willie getting the same kind of calls that Woody got through his career. Destined run, determined run from the get-go, good blocking offensive line. Jodon Reams out front making the block, and he was able to turn it up and get the first.
Tigers now 1st and goal, knocking on the door once more, and they get it into the end zone with the extra point. They're within a point of 60 for the day. Obviously, you at home can do the math along with us. But anyway, here we go on 1st and goal. Close in set. That looks like Travis Zachary back in the game. Indeed he is. Well, of course, if he scores a touchdown, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be the 50th of his career. So wouldn't that be a great way for him to go out?
Another great record for him. Also, the thing I think that we're seeing is Coach Bowden is allowing Simmons to play with a lot of the first teamers to give him a fair shot to see how productive he can be.
That's a very good point, especially with that offensive line. Keep the regular guys in there. And plus, the depth factor at the offensive line, too. There aren't necessarily all that many to work in at this stage of the game. 2nd down and goal. This time the I formation with Jasmine to block for yes. Travis Zachary and spinning. Ooh, one more revolution on the spin and he probably gets in. But I think the entire stadium knows what's going to happen on the next play.
There's not much question. I believe Zachary's going to get it. Obviously, you know, just basic here, just a basic pitch sweep, going back, coming in by following the linebacker. 1, 2, 3, like as Pete said, one more chance, spin the right direction, that would have been a counter.
All right, they put another body back there with him, so you got the power set. 2 to lead the way for Zachary and number 50. Travis Zachary, his 50th career touchdown, gets him within a point of the all-time total in Clemson history. He is now just 1 behind Nelson Welch.
You see here the power out to the right, give it to Travis as we suspected would happen, and he just follows the lead block up to the inside for a 50th touchdown in his career.
That is something. And again, Tigers dead solid, perfect on the extra point attempt. And Clemson builds the lead back up, 59-24, 6:33 to go here in the fourth on CSS. 20 years ago, the Tigers brought home the national championship. The roster included a guy named Kendall Alley. This booth includes that very same man, a wide receiver on the Tigers of '81. And now 20 years later, Clemson trying to wrap up another winning campaign. By the way, Mo Sharpie, a senior from the low country of South Carolina, converted the extra point and just made the kickoff. Well, there's a guy who's put a lot of time into the program, getting some game action. Here's Douglas leaving his way out to the 35.
Douglas has shown us a lot today. Pretty tough guy. Plays pretty hard.
Tigers thinking about Disney. A bid to the Tangerine Bowl would put them right on the doorstep of the Magic Kingdom. And again, on this Saturday, the 1st of December, take care of business here, and then on Sunday the 2nd, more than likely, things will become official. And we've been told by officials of the Tangerine Bowl, it's between Clemson and NC State, and a lot of factors will go into determining that, but not only a win to get Clemson Bowl eligible, but a resounding one indeed. Has to be a big fact in getting the Tigers to the Tangerine. Nearly picked off, no, incomplete. Nice effort by Travis Pugh, but that one really didn't have enough air under it for Pugh to reel it in.
A little stop and go pattern and closed it very quickly. He was just back on the pass, stop and go pump fake, didn't bite on it, lays it up as you said, didn't have enough air on it. Great effort to try to intercept.
With that really quick bounce, I mean, it hit the ground for about a split second.
Roughing the passer.
Now you've got a roughing
on
the
the
passer
defense.
call against that
15
Tiger
yards,
defense, so
automatic first down.
15 yards right there for the Blue Devils.
Got a lot of guys out there with a lot of energy right now, getting an opportunity to tee off and hit somebody. Got a little over exuberant on that play.
Those guys would love to go to Disney World right there. So would Reggie Herring. Still sending in the signals, and he is keeping a close eye on who does what here. These are a lot of faces of the future for that Clemson defense. 1st and 10, right near midfield. New quarterback and lots of new faces in for the Blue Devils. That time Cedric Dargan on the carry. Now in at quarterback for the Blue Devils is Chris, and boy, on a team with names, how about Chris Wispelway at QB? Right there walking to class each day under the ivy in Durham, Wispelway.
Duke does have some challenging names.
That is a 2nd down and 6 situation for the Devils after the 4-yard gain. Tigers about to send some folks. And some positive yardage gain. And that time it looked like Dargan on the carry as they get out of the crowd there. And indeed it was Dargan, who is Douglas's backup. Ron Bush, another one of the guys playing in his final game in the Valley, the 6'5", 300-pounder out of Hardyville, South Carolina, Jasper County High School, and a guy who's also been very productive in his career up front, along with Nick Eason, the leader of that defensive front four. And a play now, 3rd and 5. With about 5 minutes of the game, still one more crack to Clemson's offense upcoming if the Tigers can hold. Did Love catch it in bounds? Looks like they're signaling that, plus the flag thrown, as you may have seen. There it is right there.
Most likely a pushing call on Brian Mance. He was not in a very good position there against Love on the outside.
We await the call, and there you see
pass interference. On the
Indeed, a pass
defense,
interference.
penalty is declined, first down.
And they'll take the play. And why not let their new QB get some yards? Actually, D. Bryant's now come back in the game. But look at Reggie Love. And that, again, is an example of a kind of play that the Blue Devils simply had a chance to make earlier in the game, and they didn't.
They didn't, and you see Mance got his hand up, which caused the flag. And when you're outclassed by 5 inches up there, you got to be very careful how you're going to defend.
They take the 16 yards in the play instead of the 15 on what would have been the pass interference. Bryant back in. Stays with Dargan at running back, and Duke inside the Tigers' 30. In Tommy Bowden's first year at Clemson, the Tigers posting the 6-6 record. Then last season, 9-3, and this one will put them at 6-5 today with a chance to have a 7-win campaign. In a year that I think to a man the coaching staff told you was probably not going to be a piece of cake for Clemson, even though it was a season that Florida State would be coming to Death Valley, and everyone thought maybe this is the first year the dad would beat the son. And there were a lot of other factors that made you feel good about Clemson's team. They knew there were some question marks on defense and elsewhere. And that time, no question about it, making the big play is Bryant McNeil. Gets in on Bryant on the sack.
Bryant coming in from the far side, coming around the backside as the play was slow to develop. See Bryant coming out, McNeil coming around the backside and making a great play on the quarterback sack.
McNeil, a junior, has really come along, and again, back to the point about it, they knew that there were probably as many areas in this team this season that would need to be developed as there were answers already provided. And there have been some great moments where a lot of would-be question marks were certainly quickly responded to, and in some of the wins that maybe folks didn't expect Clemson to pull in, on the road at Georgia Tech, on the road at NC State. It's been a great day all the way around. You know about Woodrow Dantzler. What about Travis Zachary? Moved into second place all time on the touchdown scored in a career by an ACC player. Ted Brown, the great running back for the Wolfpack at NC State back in the 70s, holds that mark. And unless Clemson gets the ball back and marches close, looks like Zachary will settle for second, but some impressive names right behind him. Two guys who moved on to pro football, Leon Johnson and Warwick Dunn. So Travis Zachary has surpassed today, obviously, the all-time touchdown score in Clemson history, and it also appears 1 point shy of Nelson Welsh's school mark of 301 points. And as a running back, to get right there within just a point of a place kicker is really something. Other side, the Duke Blue Devils on the verge of their 23rd straight loss. You may hear some applause. It's for big number 98, Nick Eason, the graduate student, the defensive lineman. There he is, just came off the field to a nice ovation.
Hey, going back to your point about what the coaching staff was, you know, last year there was not a lot of balance in the league, and Clemson and Florida State and Georgia Tech were at the very top, and this year you got 7 teams that could potentially be looked at for bowl opportunities, so a lot more balance, and maybe the success last year was a little bit premature for where the program really was.
They go back to their second-team quarterback, and there's a connection for a touchdown. Kerry Sharp on the receiving end. So Kerry Sharp gets back into the end zone. Wispaway, Chris Wispaway hooking up with him, and the Devils again strike.
Coming off here, just drag right down the middle. Sharp breaking loose. Good throw, had a little bit of air time with it, but a good throw for his touchdown today. He was also the receiver on the first touchdown today on the inside out.
29-yard scoring play. Heath Freeman converts, and the Devils, when it's all said and done with, they'll say they at least got the ball into the end zone against the Tigers, and will come away with some decent numbers on offense themselves. As you see, simply what about a 3-step drop, you think?
Yep, got settled, and Wispaway threw it up, and he was out in front, and excellent touchdown pass. The center of the field is usually open when you get close to the end zone.
And it goes for a score. So now 59-31. The numbers have been put up. As those guys enjoy a Saturday afternoon in the Valley, friends, we invite you to tune into CSX next Saturday and enjoy a full day of college hoops. It all starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. Ohio State and Louisville. Buckeyes take their crack at Rick Pitino's team. Then off to Mobile, Alabama, and doubleheader action from the Coors Classic. Game 1 featuring Georgia against South Alabama at 6 o'clock, followed by Auburn and Marshall at 8:30. The final game of the day pits the UNLV Runnin' Rebels against those Lions of Loyola Marymount. All here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. in the old days, UNLV and Loyola Marymount, talking back in the 90s, the Paul Westhead era for Loyola Marymount, you could have counted on a game in the 120 to 130 point range on either side, but a little bit different strategy employed compared to those run and gun days and shoot only if you have the ball. Guys like Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball, great players on the UNLV side, were competing in college hoops. Striking up the band, it's been a regular occurrence today. And with 3:22 to go, and based on the fact that it looks as if, based on the way Clemson is set up to receive this kick, they anticipate Duke is going to onside it. If Clemson recovers, they'll have a short field to work with. Devils actually kick it over that front line of the receiving team, and it looks like Jodan Reams, and it is on the receiving end. Here's Jodan for the first time today, and he spins his way for a few more yards. Still pretty good field position to start out for Clemson. They'll be working from just inside their own 40-yard line, and who knows, maybe 60 points isn't out of reach. And Willie Simmons now will become a spectator as Matt Shell, the third-string quarterback, gets in some game action. So a great day when you can get lots and lots of guys off that bench. And Shell has over 3 minutes to work out there, out on the flank.
You got to like Coach Bowden's theory, put them in the game, put them to work. Don't give them a play to get warmed up.
And Shell can say his first pass of the Duke game went to Gardner. It would be Joel, not Rod, of course. Joel Gardner with the grab right there. Although I'm certain that surely in a spring game at least, if not in game action, Matt Shell can say he threw the ball to an NFL wide receiver, Rod Gardner.
First round pick.
Yeah. Chad Jasmine bumps inside. Now Clemson obviously intend just to run the clock down, but I got to tell you, I mean, you got guys firing out up front, and a guy like Jasmine is certainly not going to just take a knee. And Shell wants to get some completions into his stat column.
When guys like this get a chance to play who hadn't been out there, they're going to give 110% of all they got because they want to show what they've got and be able to talk about when they were there.
Clemson goes for the first down. For what it's worth, Duke does have a couple of timeouts left. I would think, in the best interest of not prolonging the inevitable, the Blue Devils will put those in their back pocket and let things run down. And Clemson may be just about on the verge of kneel down time as they get the first down.
First down, Tigers.
Coach Bowden in a position now of wondering what the future holds for the Tigers, if they will be successful getting the bowl bid.
Shell to throw once again. Nice grab out there. Pretty reel in by Tony Elliott. Guy has really contributed nicely on special teams this year, and that time gets to pull one down. And once again, when you're on an offense that will go 8, maybe even 10 wide receivers deep at any certain time, and you're a young guy, you want to look as impressive as you can, because who knows, with the right breaks and the right situations, Elliott could be a guy who gets into a certain part of the rotation next year. And that time, Jeff Scott, receiving end. Boy, imagine what the stat sheet is going to look like after this. We'll have to go to a second page.
Absolutely.
On the individual numbers. Normally, that's all compressed onto one page, but certainly lots of folks with some numbers gained today.
You can see by the substitutions trying to get in as many players as possible so they can enjoy what has really been a good day for Clemson here in the Valley.
Brings up a third down and 3. Look at this carry. Cutting for big yards, Trey White. Down inside the 20, close to the 15. Wow. As we said, no one's going to take a knee if they don't have to. And Trey White, some big-time moves to get free and go.
Like we said, as you said, Pete, the guys out there going to play hard. Made a great run, just a base handoff up the middle, and he breaks it to the outside, gets excellent blocking from the receivers, and he's off to the races. A lot of excitement for these guys to get a chance to play, and Tariq showing what he's got. And as you said, it's the time to show maybe I get a chance in the new world order.
So 1st and 10 now at the 15. And guess who's back in? Oh yeah, Travis Zachary. He's got a chance at the 10. It would almost be excusable if Clemson wanted to burn a timeout now under a minute to play, or even if they decided to throw the football. Certainly the Duke staff has to know that some significant numbers could be registered by Travis Zachary here. Clemson over 600 yards of offense. And now an official timeout. Looks like someone lost a shoe, and it's Brian Outlaw.
Charging it down to Clemson.
Yeah, they'll charge it to Clemson.
And tangerines are coming on the field.
Yes. I'm not so sure that's not the worst thing in the world that Brian Outlaw would have a footwear emergency in that particular situation. As the clock does get stopped, it gives Clemson a chance to get a timeout, call a play or two. And again, although it has been absolutely a dreary season for the Devils, 2 straight dreary seasons, and really not a whole lot good happening for them over the past few years, but you can understand the sentiment on the Clemson side to have a guy who has a chance to tie a league record and establish a new school scoring record. And a guy like Travis Zachary, who's been a gamer and a class act, I don't think the Blue Devils would mind at all giving him at least the opportunity to try for it. They sure want to stop him.
The comments on Travis are true. He's been a workhorse in this program for a long time. He's thrown as many good blocks as he has scored touchdowns, and he's been a big part of this offense for a long time.
Chad Jasmine in to block. Matt Shell remains the quarterback. And for one of the few times this season or in the Bowden era, Tigers were just one wide receiver on a second down play that is not second and short. Lost yardage right there, and unless Clemson extends another timeout, that will get us close to 1 play remaining in the game.
I think Coach Franks and his team decided that maybe they thought Mr. Zachary was going to get the ball as well. We're going to focus on him.
You know, that little misdirection throwback to Zachary would more than likely have a chance of working right now.
Yeah.
Here it is, 3rd and 8. It'll be a pitch to Zachary. Bobbles at first. He will go down, and I think that'll just about do it. Well, give Clemson credit, give Duke's defense credit for bowing up at the end on a day where the Tigers certainly have plenty to smile about. First and foremost, they take care of business. They secure a postseason bid, at least make themselves bowl eligible, knocking off Carl Franks and the Duke Blue Devils in resounding fashion. 59-31, Tommy Bowden's team goes to 6-5 for the regular